You guys know I love podcasting and listening to podcasts, and I'm guessing if you're listening to this that you love podcasts too. Have you ever considered podcasting yourself? It is a great way to reach your audience, grow your know, like and trust factor, and not need to show your face unless you want to. If it is something you've thought about but you don't know where to start, then head over to becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz, BAP quiz, to access a 2-minute quiz that will help you work out what type of podcast might suit you. That's becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz.
You're listening to the Wedding Procast UK, the place to be if you are looking to grow and streamline your wedding business. My name's Donna, I'm your host, and if you are new here, welcome. I hope you have hit that subscribe button where you listen so you don't miss an upcoming episode. And if you haven't yet, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts so that we can reach more people just like you. Let's jump into today's show. On the show today, we have Jo Soley. She is the business owner and founder of Bizology, using the powers of numerology to elevate your business success. Jo is a business and marketing coach and works with entrepreneurs who know that there is a force higher than themselves and they want to use this invisible but very real force to optimize their business results. And don't forget, if you are a member of the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors, Jo is going to be live in the group tonight for the first summer conversation of 2022. So if you want to know your life path number, make sure you come along tonight at 8 p.m. in the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors private members only group. So let's jump into today's show. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am so excited for today's episode. We have got the lovely Jo Soley here. Hi, Jo. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to dive into numbers. Now, I am a big numbers fan, just from budgeting perspective, really. I just love to play with money and all of that jazz. So when I found Jo, I was like, oh, I've got to have her on the show because there's got to be more to numbers that I am missing. So Jo, do you want to just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what it is that you do?
Thank you very much. So my name's Jo Soley. I'm a business coach and I infuse numerology into my work, and I've created a business and modality called Bizology. So I use the powers of numerology to help you elevate your business success.
Fabulous, nice and concise, which I wouldn't expect anything less from you. So can we jump straight into how numbers can help our business? Because obviously everybody looks at it from a financial perspective, looking at the numbers, the profit and loss sheets and all of that. But how else can we sort of look for numbers, incorporate numbers, and how can they help us with our business success?
So nothing happens in life without numbers, okay? They're intrinsic to everything they do. Numbers are magic. They're fundamental of form, they're inherent, they're cosmic, they're deep, they're energetic. And they are like literally falling all over us as we speak. We're all made up of loads of different numbers. We've all got lots of different numbers in our chart. And what works for me won't work for you, because I'm working my business from the place of my numbers. So that's what I do. I help people run their business from the energies of their numbers. So numerology is the study of numbers, is as old as time. The Egyptians used it. The Greeks used it. Pythagoras is the godfather of numerology. Plato used it. Nero used it. But it's as new as the next decision you're going to make. So there's no new information out there. Everything really is esoteric science, and numerology is half science and half mysticism, half intuition. So what we do, we understand who we are through the lens, through the modality, through the discipline of numerology, and we make decisions in our businesses based on that information. So astrology, there's loads and loads and loads of houses and planets, and it can get quite confusing. But in numerology, there's 11 numbers. That's it. So we work with those 11 numbers, 1 to 9, 11 and 22, sometimes 33, and we work within the parameter of those numbers. So if you've got a number, you've got it for a reason. If you haven't got a number, you haven't got it for a reason. Mm-hmm. So like astrology looks to the stars, numerology looks to numbers, and Bizology helps you understand who you are as a business owner. Because like I said, what works for you won't work for me. So you're working with the energies of the number 6 and the number 8 straight out the gate, which is all about collaboration and groups and tribes and teams. But the way you do it, which is your 6 energy, the way you do it is your 8 energy, high standards, professional quality, success. Weddings is very 6 in energy, okay? What's the 6 major arcana card in the tarot? Lovers. Now, you put a comment on something I did the other day, and you said, I need to be more 6, less 8. But I see you being really 6 because it's all about that group and the tribe and people and family, and you do care. 6s understand how people feel, okay? So you're doing quite well without probably knowing you are in alignment with your numbers. So if I was to work with you with numbers, it's just let's have more 6. Let's really understand this 6-8 interjection, what it means, how to work with it. But I'm a 1. So that is innovation and it's originality and the need to be self-employed, and it's very entrepreneurial, and I'm first out of a gate, and I'm not very good at vision because that's 9, not 1 energy, and I'm very good at next, new, and Bizology is very 1 in energy because it's different and it's innovative, okay? But I'm born on the 4th of the 4th, so I'm like a little dog with a bone. Structure, control, routine and system, orders, lists, making sure everything's working, bit of a workaholic energy. So very, very quickly in the first few minutes of talking to you, we can see that your energies and my energies, even though we get on well and there's lots of synergies in our numbers, we're actually here to do very different things. Now, coaching, business coaching, and some networking and business strategy books, social media courses, whatever you do, that's not based on the premise that we're all different. That's based on the premise what will work for you will work for me. But then that goes back to what I was saying, if you've got a number, you've got it for a reason. So anything you do has to be 6 energy, tribe, community, understanding how people feel, love, connection, groups. But the way you do it has to be quality, high end, but you can be hypercritical of self because we are the negative of our numbers. So anything I do has to be different. It has to be new. It can't really been done before. I can't follow a cookie cutter approach, but then nobody can. So all of this, I'll get, make 6 figures overnight rubbish. If a coach is doing really well financially, money's just a byproduct of your alignment. The more you can work with your numbers, the more money you can bring in. Because the more impact you make in the world, the more money you can bring in. And if you've got a number, you've got it for a reason. So this is a bit deep, but we were given our numbers before we came down. God, source, divine, whoever you believe in, we've got our energies. So you're working with 6 energy, Donna, but I'm 49 next week, never married, no kids, right? That is a no 6 energy. So all my life, I was trying to not get married, but, meet the guy, have the 2.4 kids, have the semi-detached, but I'm not meant to. And when I stopped trying to chase that, life worked. But society tells us we should have 2.4 kids. Society tells us we need to have, semi-detached. Society tells us that we have to work for the man, not with my numbers. So this is, it's a lot to swallow, like in 5 minutes of a podcast. But basically, we're here to learn. We're here to learn what we didn't learn in a previous life, and your numbers show you what you're meant to learn. Your numbers show you who you were last time. Your numbers show you what you're meant to be doing this time. Your numbers can show you where it's easy for us to be. So it's easy for you to be 8 energy. It's easy for me to be 4 energy. But your numbers show you what you're working towards. So I was self-employed, but I was being a number 2. I was helping everybody else run their business. I was the power behind the throne. That's not what I was meant to be doing. How was life working out? Well, not that well, because I wasn't being Jo. And now I'm being me and moving forward from that place, then life is working out.
Yeah, I get that. And I feel the same way with my 6 energy. It makes so much sense because I've always wanted to be married. I've always wanted to have the children. I'm 41 on my next birthday and I've never been married. And that's because I had the opportunity and I didn't, because I knew I couldn't say until death do us part to that person. And I didn't want to say it until I found the one that I could say that to, you know, I knew it straight away. And so for me, it's quite an upsetting thing that I got to the age that I am and I'm still not married and whatnot. But for me, it's so important that it's the right person that I won't go there until it's the right person. So it really makes sense when you talk about the numbers there, and it's a little bit crazy sometimes to think about like how well they suit it. But almost like when you read your horoscopes, you know, people go, oh, well, they just make that up. It could be anybody. But when you look at the characteristical traits, I'm a Cancerian. And I am so typically a Cancerian. I love being in my house, you know. COVID wasn't a big deal to me in respect of having to isolate at home because this is my happy place. And if you could pick my house up and put it by a body of water, I'd be really happy. So it's easy to see how those particular traits align to you as a person. And when you know your numbers, you can also see that. And I see your numbers in you. And when you showed me mine, I was just like, oh, yeah, that is totally the type of person I am. So what is the advantage of people knowing their numbers? Is it something that, you know, if they work out their numbers and they realize they're working for themselves, but they shouldn't really be working for, you know, how is that? Is it kind of a finite thing? Like when you see your numbers, you said that you were working for yourself, but you were working for other people. Is that something that just can never work? Or is there ways around it if we sort of work out our numbers and go, oh, I'm in completely the wrong place?
Yeah, I just want to pick up on something you said before. Just because you're a 6 doesn't mean that you have to get married, but 6 will like you said, your house is running.
The desires there.
The connection, the family unit, that energy. Yeah. So with regards to how it helps you in business, so all of the numbers have different energies to them. So 1 is very entrepreneurial, 2 is very emotional, very sensitive. It's all about balance. 3 is very communicative. 4 is about order, planning, routine. 5 is about travel and change. 6 is about connection and community and relationships, responsibility. 7 is about seeking, learning, thinking, asking. 8 is about success and wealth. 9 is about helping people. What do we do when we need help? We ring 999. 11 is spiritual, like 1111. You know, it's an intense, it's inspirational. 22 is the architect of change. It's about transformation. And then 33 is God consciousness, one world consciousness, right? So when you know what numbers you're working with, there's a number we're going to talk about later on, which is the life path number, also called your destiny number. I don't call it that because it sounds woo-woo enough bringing numerology into business. But 75% of what's going on is your life path number. So for Donna, 6, which is the nurturer, me, 1, which is the leader, okay? But then there's other numbers that are easier to be. There's numbers that are the end game. There's numbers that you were last time, etc., etc. So when I ran through the numbers and I gave you a different, like a theme, an energy, you can see that some numbers are more business, some numbers are more creative, some numbers are more spiritual. So, you know the phrase that 6s and 7s, you're not the number next to you. 6 is nurturing, love, parenting. 7 is self, on your own, seeking, thinking, questioning. So if someone's at 6s and 7s, they're at odds with themselves because the energy of 6 is different to the energy of 7. So if you didn't really know what you wanted to do at school and you just fell into a career, which many people do, and then you went to uni and you got your degree, or didn't, you went into your job and you just kind of were coasting or working hard, but you weren't really feeling it, then you can see it in your numbers because it won't be in alignment with what you're here to do. So if you have always been, I don't know, say a lawyer, and you just did it because it was, your father was a lawyer and you were expected to be a lawyer, but you didn't want to be a lawyer, then there's going to be a disconnect. It doesn't need to be a lawyer. It could be a baker. It could be a florist. It could be a dog walker, whatever. If you're doing something and it's not in alignment with your energies, it's not going to work. Okay. So how Bizology works is not, oh God, you've got to throw the baby out of the bathwater and start again. It's so networking for me, one to many, big groups for me doesn't work because I don't have much 6, but it would really work for you because of the 6 piece. One-to-one works really well for me. Innovation works well for me. Not being too planned works well for me. Leading, not needing, works for me, right? So because I know these things, then I can make sure regularly check in, have a Bizology date with myself and make sure I'm doing the things that I need to do to move forward in my business. It goes a lot deeper. We work in 9-year cycles, your name, etc., etc. But straight out the gate, your life path is the most important number because you can't change your date of birth. You can change your name, change your life. So I'm meant to be doing all things one. So if I'm doing half of one and half of two, it's not going to work. Yeah. So whenever the wheels don't fall off my life and business anymore, since I know my numbers, because I'm steady, I'm moving forward, I know what I'm doing. Of course, I still get disappointments. Of course, it's life. It's not a bed of roses. It's not meant to be. But the wheels don't fall off my life anymore because I know what I'm here to do. If somebody doesn't know what they're here to do, if they feel like they're constantly pushing a cart up a hill, if they're like, why aren't I happy? Why aren't I feeling in alignment? Why aren't I feeling that I've nailed my purpose? Why aren't I feeling in flow? It's because at some point in their chart, they're working against their numbers. There's a lot there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think that's something that we can use in our business. So, for example, I feel like there will be a lot of 6s in the wedding industry. We're a very sort of creative, loving bunch. So I feel like we'll see a lot of 6s come up. But if that's the case and we're not those kind of business-minded people, it highlights to us that it doesn't mean that we have to stop our business, but we have to stop and think about, is it worth outsourcing those tasks, those elements of our business, so that we're not in that situation that is making us uncomfortable or making us unhappy or not sitting well with us with our numbers, so that we can spend more time in our 6 or whatever the number is.
Yeah. 6s are really good in business, though. Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Karen Brady, right? They're all 6s.
Brilliant.
Because they nail it in business, different to an 8, that's more executive, more kind of VIP end, high ticket. 6s understand how people feel, right? Who doesn't want their problem solved? We don't buy our way into something, we buy our way out of something. So one thing a 6 is really good at is understanding the pain that somebody's in And that might feel old paradigm, but whatever we do, whatever decision we make, even if we buy the cat food, it's an emotional decision. So sixes are very good at understanding that. And like, say if you were a Bowen therapist and you've hurt your back, it's not about the back pain. You can't get on the golf course, or you can't pick up your little girl, yeah? So that is why sixes are really good in business. So you're good in business because you've got your 8 approach, you know, you've got that energy there. But a 6 needs to strategize and run their business from a place of group, connection, tribe, creativity, using their voice, and from that place, responsibility and relationships, right? So that's different from a 1 who has to run their business from originality, dynamism, flow, uniqueness, innovation. So 6, you've got Karen Brady, she bought a football club, very 6 in energy. But 1 energy, you've got like Lady Gaga, Stormzy, Joseph. Can you see?
Yeah.
So they are their brand. I am my brand. But with a 6, it's about your connections with other people and your business associates. And then from that place, you run your business. For me, it's not about that. I've tried to do it in the past. It doesn't work. It doesn't mean I can't go networking. It doesn't mean I can't have friends in business. It's just I need to make my life about me. And then from that place, I help other people. But because I know that, then I can make sure that I'm doing those things. And going back to the wheels coming off, they don't come off anymore. But if they were to, it would mean that I'm not working in the positive of my numbers.
No, do you know what? That makes even more sense to me, because I'm just like, well, yeah, because a lot of wedding vendors will kind of, they don't want to be in the forefront of their businesses. They don't want to be so visible. They want to, it's about the couple. It's about the wedding. It's about the team that they're working with. It's about collaboration. And it's not so much, you know, here I am, look at me. And it's something that I was talking about on a show that I did a while back with Yvonne Phillips, where she was talking about getting visible in your business. And I said, oh, we're going to have to sort of get the industry out of its comfort zone here, because we're much more in the background. And so when you say that, from that aspect of working your business from your numbers point of view, you can be very good in business, even if, you know, you're not a leader, you're not a 1, you can still be very good in business coming from the place of your number. It just means that you've got to be aware of it. If you're not aware of it, and that's probably why a lot of the wedding industry came into the wedding industry, because they tried the corporate world, and they'll probably find that their numbers aren't suited to that. And that's what drove them to a more creative space. So it's just another level of understanding yourself. And I think it's a really, really good one to do. So we touched on it a little bit, and we've spoken about our own life path number, but what is a life path number? Why is it so important?
So when I say you're a 6 and I'm a 1, you're working with the energy of the number 6 if you choose to. I'm working with the energy of the number 1 if I choose to. So I'm born on the 4th of the 4th, 1973. 4 plus 4 plus 1973 is 1981. 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 1 is 19. 1 and 9 is 10. 1 and 0 is 1. Okay, I'm working with the energy of the number 1. It's the leader. Now, that is a lot to digest, like on an audio. So we'll give you a free guide and you can work it out. You can't change your date of birth. So 75% of what's going on in your life and business is this number. It's easier for me to be 4, structure, control, routine and system, than it is for me to be 1, innovation, dynamic, innovative. But being a 1, which is my whole date of birth, gives me the juice, gives me the results, gives me this house I just bought. The 4, being born on the 4th of the 4th, it's easy to be 4. So the day of the month that you're born on also called your approach, is how you navigate your life path. But what happens in comfort zones? Not much. So it's easy for us to be 4. It's easy for you to be the 8 energy because you're born on the
26.
And 2 and 6 is 8. Yeah. So that's the life path number. We give you a link and you can work it out, but we use whole numbers. A lot of people are starting to use numerology a little bit. They're all getting it wrong, not all of them. A lot of people are getting it wrong because they're not using the correct calculations. Then you lose master numbers, etc., etc. But there's 7.5 billion people in the world. We don't just chop everyone into 11 numbers. That's like saying you're Cancerian and I'm Aries. It goes deeper than that. All right. So even though it's really, really important to understand our life path number, it's easier to be other numbers. So if we can get out of the, like me 4 and you 8, and get into our life path number, that is the rub. It goes deeper. There's numbers that we want to work towards. There's numbers we want to avoid. There's compatibility. There's your name. There's what's in your name, what's not in your name, your vows of your name, right? But for the purpose of this episode, 75% of what's going on is your life path number. It's the path you're here to walk this lifetime. It's your destiny, and really understanding it gives you a treasure map. Forget a business plan. It's how you can align, and it makes everything make sense. So if we didn't know that you were a 6 but had a look at what's going on in your life, very 6. If we didn't know that I was a 1, but what's going on in my life, very 1. Now, a lot of people aren't working anywhere near their life path number. They're not working anywhere near their destiny number. So what I do is, one of the sessions is sense check where they are on the spectrum, because life won't, if someone goes to me, oh, that's not me, well, how's life working out? Probably not very well. So if they can embrace it, if they're up for it, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but if they can embrace it, if they can bring it into their life, if they can appreciate it, it's not a one and done. It's not like a magic pill. Oh, I know I'm a 1 now. You've got to work with it. It's evolution and it's a journey. But then the rewards are really there.
Yeah. And I really think that anything we can do to understand ourselves on a deeper level is going to benefit us. And just knowing some of these numbers, like we're saying, we'll give you the access to the free download Jo's got so you can work out your own life path number. But just knowing that number, certain things will start to make sense and it will start putting things in place for you. And if you are really misaligned with that number, you'll be able to see where and why. And I think, it's such a fascinating topic, and there's so many different things. I know on your group, Jo, you were talking about your house number and the house that you live in. And I'm like, oh, I live in a number 5. And I'm like, I didn't plan on moving, but maybe I will be. So, yeah, I find it really fascinating that they are exactly that. Since I've spoken to you and met you, the hearing and seeing of numbers, they really are everywhere. Everywhere you look, there are numbers, and, there's meaning to be drawn from them. So, yeah, I think it's really interesting. So if people want to find out more about numerology and all of the different things that it is that you do and can help with, Jo, where can people find you?
So josoley.com is the best place to find me, and then I'll give you the link to my free guide so people can work out their life path number. I'd say don't go down a rabbit hole. It's really easy to do that. Keep everything top line. One of the most important things as well is that we work in 9-year cycles, and there's better years and easier years to do things. So also, did I tell you your
I think you did it in the group, didn't you?
So you're 26th of June. So you're in a 1 year at the moment. So this year is really good for you, for new beginnings, seeding the new for the next 9 years. Whatever you do now, some of it won't grow, but some of it will. So the more you can seed, obviously you've only got a couple of months, well, 3 months left. So yeah, quarter left. This is a good time for you to seed the new in the next 9 years. I purposely, deliberately, consciously waited till my 1 year to start Bizology. And then over the last few years, it's moved forward. On Monday, I go into my 5 year. I've been in a 4 year. Nothing's been happening quickly. Structure, control, routine and system. Plans that you make don't really happen. It's like one of those years. You've got to sit tight. But now I'm in a 5 year. I'm going into a 5 year change, freedom, expansion, adventure. So also this 9 year cycle, it goes, this is how it's another layer, because yes, it's really important to understand your life path number. But if you get all excited and go, I'm a life path number 5, and it's all about freedom and adventure and growth, and I'm going to do loads of different things, but you're in a 4 year, you're not the number next to you. It's not a year for loads of different things. The universe shines a light, and anything weak in structure, you've got to get your ducks in a row. So understanding the year that we're in as well is really powerful.
Yeah. It's fascinating, and we could talk all day about it, and luckily you get to talk all day about it. But yeah, so I think that just getting that life path number and understanding sort of that 75% can help you really sort of just see where you're at. And, especially knowing this 9 year cycle would be really handy as well, to sort of know where you are in that cycle. And those two numbers together are really good numbers to sort of start you out with. So definitely head over to Jo's website and look up your life path number and have a look into it and see about it, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are skeptical, and you're all free to be skeptical, but you can't diss something unless you've tried it. And I always say, you've got to try something, you've got to try it. So give it a go, see what your life path number is, and let us know over in the group on Facebook what your life path number is and whether you could have guessed it. Because I think it's an interesting one to look. Could you guess from Jo saying that she could see that I would be a 6 from the life that I'm living, and that Jo could tell, you could tell Jo's a 1 from the life that she lives. Could you have guessed your number if you hadn't known it? So I think that would be really interesting.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go.
The easiest number to pick up in somebody's energy is the day of the month that they're born on. So the first time you contacted me, very professional. Not that I'm saying you're not professional, but I could pick up 8 energy in the email you sent me. Very professional, lots of kind of links, connections, right? Very 8 in energy. And now I've got to know you a little bit more. We've had a few chats. We've connected over social. Now I can see the 6. So the first thing you see is the date of the month that you're born in, and you reduce that down. So it's between 1 to 9, 11 and 22, not 33, because we don't have 33 days in a month. So that is the first thing. So people would maybe think, Jo works hard. Jo's a bit of a workaholic. Jo can be a bit of a dog with a bone, right? So that's the 4. And then my 1 will kick in. So, yeah. But if you're interested like that deeply, just book a call with me and then I can show you how it works.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jo, for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I think it's a fascinating subject. And I think anything we can do to just better our understanding of ourselves that makes our lives a little bit better. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That was a great conversation with Jo. I hope you enjoyed it. You may have picked up on a little bit of background noise on her end. Unfortunately, she had some roadworks happening right outside our house, which is just typical when you're recording a podcast that something like that will have happened. I remember when I interviewed Kate from Book More Brides, she had aeroplanes or lawnmowers going in the background. It is very difficult to edit out those noises, so I hope that it didn't disrupt the podcast too much for you. It was a really good conversation. I want to just say a huge thank you to Jo again for coming on the show and delivering that information to us. She was suffering with COVID at the time of the recording, and I did say if you want to push it back, we can push it back, but she was a trooper and we went ahead, and I think she did an amazing job. So thank you so much, Jo. Can't wait for our conversation this evening with the members of the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors. So don't forget, if you are a member, you can come and join us in the group at 8 p.m. this evening. If not, then definitely head over to Jo's website. The links all will be in the show notes for you so that you can go and work out your own life path number. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.